Tonight, Thursday Night Football. Obviously, you've been hot. You've only got one wrong, and it was for Darnold last week, and he covered by 1.5 yards in kind of late, and then they ran the ball the entire time. Tonight, Tom Brady, the GOAT, takes on Big Richard Nick Foles. How do you see this one playing out in the pass game for both of these teams?
Man, you know what? I like Tom tonight. Okay. I like Tom tonight, especially going up against Foles, because he's real chapped in the ass from what happened in the Super Bowl. He's the old Mel Artist Stark, but his weapons are banged up, man. His weapons are banged up. If Mike Evans can go tonight, he'll be a game time decision. Pretty much got that pregame workout. If he can go, I'm taking it over for sure. But if he's not out there, I got to go with the under. So it's kind of, it's here. So I don't know. What is that, a hammer? Is that still a hammer?
No, it's not a hammer. That's what it got
to be real, man, because very tough hammer. Defense. The only way he gets over 260, I think, is what Mike Evans out there. Mike Evans, he thugged it out through that ankle injury last week. Went out there and balled, but without him, I don't think they hit over the 260.
So it's a tentative hammer, more so a lean right now at this point. But we will not bring out the hammer to hammer that one. The thing about Mike Evans, I think there's no way he plays. Now, I don't think so. Did you watch him last week? And I assumed that they were just going to make his whole ankle numb, but that's hard to do because you got a lot of weight on there. Whenever he came back out, it looked very, I don't want to say lame, but that's a way to describe a bum wheel there. He looked lame on that thing on a very regular, and just 4 days later, at that point, I assume he had some sort of anti-inflammatory in his system. He had a bunch of, obviously, the emotion of the game and adrenaline and everything like that. I just assume with 4 days, there's no way with how he looked. But Mike Evans is Superman-like. Maybe the ankle just says, "No, we're fucking cool."
I was with you. I didn't think he would even finish last game. But for him to even be going out there and doing a pregame workout lets me know that he's close at least. So with the other guys banged up, I know he feels like that. I got to be out there for my guy because Godwin's out. Fournette's out, Shady's out. They lost O.J. Howard for the season. So, they're pretty good. It's going to be a tough division to win, obviously. So I think he's going to do everything possible. They'll have a better plan, I think, medication-wise going into it, because now you kind of have a plan going into it as opposed to trying to figure something out and just get him back out there as soon as possible. So I'm pulling for him to go tonight, man. I think it would have even been close and him even giving it a try. I'm pulling for him.
Okay, so whatever he is to pass 70, 80, 65% with Mike Evans, Tom Brady over there, 262.5 against his Bears defense. James Jones, former wide receiver for the Packers, he came on here and was saying a bunch of things that I did not expect him to say.
Yeah,
he was talking about
pick those Bears.
Did you hear that? He loves the Bears tonight. He thinks they win by 14, 31-17. He also thinks that defense, Chicago Bears defense, in prime time, getting a chance to put on a show. They got some big-name marquee players over there. He thinks that they're going to give Tom Brady massive amounts of problems tonight. Do you see it the same way, or what do you?
Tom, he's got a young tackle out there. He did a pretty good job against Bosa last week, but that Khalil Mack he's a beast. So you got Kyle Fuller. You definitely got playmakers. You got old Chucky P calling the shots over there on the defensive side of the ball. But on a short week, Foles going into his. I'm still taking Brady to win the game. Brady's undefeated in Thursday Night Football. I think 7-0. So I'm riding with the old man to win the game. I definitely, even if the Bears do edge it, I definitely don't think they win by 2 scores. But the Bucs are banged up, and if Mike Evans isn't out there, now you can kind of talk about that. But like I said, I think Mike Evans is going to go. But we'll see. But Jane, he sound confident. He almost got me over there.
Hey.
I'm going with the Bucs. I'm going with the Bucs.
Hey, Meats, I already placed my bet earlier this morning while I was taking my morning grumpy on the Bucs, and then I heard him talking. And I was like, man, this son of a bitch is making some points here.
What's the spread right now?
3.5.
3.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Bears way?
Yes. Yeah.
It's 5.5 earlier in the week.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. I mean, depending upon Bears' weight, Bears are not favored. No, the Bears are getting 3.5 points, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so they are not favored. They're underdog. But let's talk about that defense you just talked about with Khalil Mack and them in Chicago. Chuck Pagano is their defense coordinator, a guy you and I both know very well. What is he saying on a short week going against Tom Brady in his? What do you think Chuck Pagano's message to the Chicago Bears defense is?
Getting after the quarterback, first and foremost, up in the middle of the pocket. That's how you affect the Brady. That's the only way you can affect him, is getting penetration up in the middle of the pocket. And his name is slipping my mind right now, but 96 for the Bears does a great job of that. Obviously, Khalil Mack, he doesn't have a bunch of sacks this year, but he's still getting after the passer at a very, very high rate. I think he's like third or fourth as far as pressures. And that defense as a whole, they're top 3 with the passer rating versus quarterbacks. So versus quarterbacks this year. So that's the only way you affect Tom, is getting pressure in the middle, having tight coverage. Kyle Fuller is actually one of the better corners in this league, but he tends to play a lot of off. And I think that's good for him. That'll be a good matchup for him if he's out Evans. But young boy Jalen Johnson has been balling this year. He's been playing above his draft status, I think, playing like a first rounder. So they got all the pieces. I still think Tom, gets the edge, but Chuck's got his players over there. He's got his scheme, and he's calling a hell of a defense this year. So they definitely got a chance. I just don't think their offense is good enough to put those points up.